Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we're going to talk about Optimus. We just got it back from the PDR and body shop, and we got to talk about a lot of things to unpack on this. So before we get started, please smash the subscribe button. Helps a small channel out. Thumbs up and notification bell. Have tons of great content. If you guys didn't see my YouTube short, I will link it below. And what had happened is we got back from a camping trip, and at the early time of the morning, I'm getting ready for the gym. Get a weather alert saying, "Hey man, there's hail coming," and it said 4:45. So I'm like, "Cool, I got time." It's like 3:20, and before I could even get my shoes on to head out to the gym, the hail happened. So $8,000 to just my truck. My son's car was about $8,000. We had about ping pong ball size hail, and it was hard as stone. So if you watch that short all the way through, you'll see the hail was actually bouncing off the concrete. That's how hard it was. And so most of my damage was to my driver's side, my roof, tonneau cover, and the actual hood. So took it to our repair shop, and this is, I'm not going to name the auto body shop because it's a reputable shop. It's a big shop, and we had every door-to-door salesman trying to sell me their PDR type work. And so you could see some tape on my hood. All right. And the reason why I taped this up is because after we got it back, it actually had to go back down about 5 days later when I had an opportunity. And because they actually damaged more of my truck than they did the repair. So now this is where it's going to come into it. I worked for a company where I did quality control on semis and everything like that, motorhomes and stuff, and I would see how meticulous some mechanics and techs work. They were clean, they were careful with everything they took off because they took it upon themselves to have pride in their work. And then there were some guys I knew that didn't. They just kind of threw people's stuff around, didn't really care, willy-nilly. And inevitably, this is what's called a comeback customer. Comeback customers are customers that bring something in for something, and we make a bigger issue out of it or make a completely new issue that the company now gets to pay for. So along with my damage, we had money to replace the hood, bed cover, and then PDR, the roof and the fenders and everything like that. And I chose initially to opt out of replacing the hood because they wanted to blend the fenders because they said it'd be hard to match this paint. Now, I told you guys before, if you watch the other video where the paint didn't match, I'll show you that in just a second because somebody questioned me the other day, didn't know quite what I was talking about. Well, this is one of those colors that's hard to match paint. And so I had opted to not have them do the hood because I had a company that was door to door, said we can PDR that hood, and if you get it back, we'll show you how good we do the work. Then you'll bring the next car to us, which I have one more car that needs to get repaired. And then when I finally got the truck back, they said, "Oh, we don't want the work, we want the whole truck, so stick it." So I told them to get the out of my driveway, and here we are. So once I got the truck back, I happened to notice there was a few things. Once I noticed there was a few things, and this is you as a customer, you should do this unless you don't give a crap about your car or whatever you're going to get worked on. They got paid full price for a job to get done. What they did was actually cause some damage, and as minute as you might think, and you might be like, I could overlook that. I'm not overlooking anything on a brand new truck. So let's go inside. Once I saw this is what then took me to the next level of checking the whole truck over. So once inside the truck, I found my fancy mirror smashed up against the headliner here. That was my first thing. Now it wobbles. So they jacked it up. So whether it can be tightened or they've did something to the base, this is one of the rear mirrors with the camera in it. So you can see up here though, that when they took this off, they slid it across the ground and damaged the camera cover. And then as you kind of go through the headliner, you can see all these spots and dark spots, but right here, they tore my headliner. And you might be thinking, geez, Jeremy, you're pretty anal retentive. Well, hell yeah, I am. This is an $85,000 pickup, and I didn't take it in for to get damage. I took it in to get fixed, and they got paid by my insurance and me to do it. And so that pissed me off. Then you probably can't see it just based on the lighting and everything, but the whole headliner looks like somebody took their dirty black hands and touched all over it, which pissed me off. Then, as you look up here, they had to take these off. This thing's loose, but they actually marred the other side over there. You probably can't see it. They actually marred it. Now, if you're a tech, a mechanic, or even just a garage mechanic like me that's done stuff, you gotta have the right tools for the job. To not mar plastic, if you watch any of my other videos, you gotta have the proper tools to remove trim pieces inside. And you need a softer plastic piece to remove a harder plastic piece so you don't damage the surroundings. So they damaged that. And I can get over the post. They're not going to do anything with the cover, but I demand a new headliner, which they are going to do. And then I said, you're going to wear gloves next time or have the tech wash their hands because, well, there's black marks all over this light gray thing and I can probably take them out. However, every time you wash this and try and get this stuff out of there, it potentially allows it to lift later, so we don't want to do that. Now, interesting enough, we took my son's car down there. They both went in right about the same time. Got his car back the other day. His headliner was jacked up also, and so his car got left there, and I needed the truck for some towing and a trip that we had, so we had to come back. But obviously, once I saw that, then we kept on looking. Now, outside the truck on the driver's side, we had our belt trim moldings, these chrome pieces. They're dented up. They forgot to put those even in. They had them. You can see my Z71 badges are missing is because they were initially going to take my fenders and paint blend the fenders with the hood. And I told them, I said, I was really worried about it. And I didn't want to do that because if the hood wouldn't match the fenders and they blend the fenders, how are the fenders going to match the doors? And it wasn't until just the other day when I called her back to make the appointment and she said, do you want to go ahead and replace the hood now? I said, yes. She goes, well, I'm just worried about the paint matching. That's exactly what I was talking about. Have your body shop try and do a paint tin. If they won't, then keep in mind, if you have one of these colors that's kind of wonky, it's not a solid red or whatever, paint blending may not work as well. Again, when you're pulling decals off, you got to be careful. What they did is they pulled pop paint here. So that's going to be resealed because now I'm opting to just do the hood, and I'm going to keep this old hood and I'm going to try my own shot at PDR. I've done it before and I've done some good stuff with it. So we'll have a video later on that to see how well I did. And then I taped this up because when they took this off and they thought they were going to throw it in the trash, they actually chipped all the paint off this whole corner on both sides. And they also stripped the bolts that actually hold the hood on. They stripped those out, which definitely pissed me off. So I told them, I said, you guys write it to it. Matter of fact, I made up a punch list of stuff that they screwed up that I want them to address. And then there's some things that I don't even want them to touch at this point. But I want you guys to know too, if you're using body panel tools, you need to use those same plastic tools to remove these things so it doesn't, one, mar the paint or bend the edges on this crazy black plastic. Now, again, I went over this thing high and tight. It was dusty, it was dirty inside, which pissed me off because I had detailed it before I took it down. There's no reason why the interior should have been dusty. I get there's gonna be a little bit of dust in the shop, but I mean, this was like a white sheet along with the black points on the roof. So then I got up and checked out the roof. Now get this. And this is why, like I said, if you do something and it's going to bring attention, the customer will start going over and over and over again. And I did. You can see that they marred the hell out of this. And then this sits here and flaps now. So whether or not they can replace this black rubber piece and get it to snap down, I have no idea. But I said, if you can't replace the rubber grommet, you're going to have to replace that too, which probably won't match. And then because the headliner's already doing it, they broke off one of the tabs and then just left it there. You can see how this just kind of pops in and out. And the reason why you want to be specific about this stuff, guys, is because, again, these panels are made to stay on the truck forever. They're plastic tabs hooked into probably a metal tab into the thing, but each time you pull them out, it weakens it. So now this whole interior has to be torn apart again. And this is all just something that could have been taken care of. Again, I worked with so many great professionals that just took so much pride. I had a buddy who did Ironhide, my old 16 Megacab dually. He had a nice body shop in my hometown and took it down to him when that thing got blasted years ago with softball size. Not only did they not damage anything, they didn't get it dirty, nothing changed. And that's just a big difference between people not caring or not taking time, not using the proper tools. And I don't care if you're an hourly rate guy or you're a flat rate guy or gal, have pride in your work. If this is a 2003 pickup that somebody's pride and joy, you still can't damage it just like you can't damage my big new truck. So let's hop in the bed. So albeit it's probably hard to see, they did scratch my roof up a bunch and then another paint nick right here because they probably had to remove this to PDR at the back of the hood. Again, proper way of taking it out. This is probably from a metallic tool. There is no way a plastic body pulling tool would have made that happen. And so they left a lot of like paint marks and stuff. They still had to replace that over there, that trim. They forgot to do that. And so it just really comes down to being professional, being smart. I can tell you this, in all of my careers, being part of that quality control, I've had more customers come back and say, I appreciate you just taking a little bit more time and getting it right. so we can get on down the road, not have any problems, or find something else, than they are trying to hurry it through, because hurrying never wins. Now, if you're a super pro and you can do everything fast and not damaging, well, then maybe you're a superstar and you should probably go ask for a raise. But even if you're kind of a novice at this stuff, there's no reason why you can't go to your boss and say, hey, I just want to take some time on this because it's kind of intricate. And the boss is like, I completely understand. It's all about communication. And to be honest with you, if you guys have seen my 2007 Chevy Avalanche videos, that truck didn't have one single mark on its plastics inside after almost 20 years. And I pulled every panel out of that truck, the doors, the seats, the console. I pulled everything out so I could detail it because it was kind of gross. And I didn't put one single mar on it. And at the end of the day, that may not tick off most of my viewers, but if you're somebody that looks at this like this is your investment, you want it to last forever, and if there's gonna be a scratch on it, it should come from you as the owner, not somebody else. And especially when there's nothing to do, say, with the headliner getting torn or whatever, that has to come out. You just got to take it out to get access to stuff. You should not be damaging somebody else's property. And if you're that kind of person, again, slow down. Communicate with the customer, communicate it, because at the end of the day, the service advisors here where they did this, they kind of do a one-over on it, but they don't necessarily do the work. But they are definitely, you get the brunt from the customer, and that's not fair for them. And especially as, again, think about year-end bonuses or whatever you're looking forward to. This, between my two headliners, it cost their company $2,000 in headliners between my son's car and my car, or my truck. And all of this is going to directly negatively affect not only the view of how your company does business, but if you're looking for potential like bonuses or anything at the end of the year, this cuts into it. So guys, gals, slow down. Take the time. And if you're the customer that's going to pick up your car, look over that thing before you leave. I looked over it and pointed out a handful of things already. Then once I got home, I called them the next day and said, hey, I got this. Luckily, the service advisor took pictures. So she was like, I know you're not lying. And I get it. So it's unfortunate. Optimus will be going back. I don't have anything coming up crazy right now. We have more videos coming out that I've already shot, that I've scheduled. But at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where you got to slow down, have pride in your work, take care of your customer. And if you're the customer, check your stuff. Never assume that anything is perfect. Oil change, pull it out of the parking lot, check to see if it has oil in it. Just anything that you do with your vehicle, hold people accountable, because otherwise the problem never gets fixed. We have to take responsibility for the stuff we all do, at least in my job, so everybody else should take responsibility for theirs too. As always, guys, appreciate you guys checking out the repairs on Optimus. We'll come back later and show you once they get the new hood. I'll show you this paint probably ain't going to match, and then we'll do some PDR on this hood just for fun. As always, guys, appreciate you guys being here. I'll catch you on the next one.